Evidences of that linguistically is this Eretz Zion, the land of Zion. When the Spaniards came over here, when the names were forged, people kept a memory of their Jewish heritage through the ending of the name, but that's been forgotten through time and circumstance.
I think it impacted a lot of us that caught it when you said the letter E and the letter Z. And the letter E stands for
Eretz, land.
Okay. And Z?
Zion, Zion.
Yeah, because when you said Martinez, Fernandez, Godinez, I mean, a lot of the ministers and pastors just kind of lit up and they just kind of leaned trying to make a connection of what the topic was about.
It's a very common name. Now, people today, and I don't want to lecture about Central America and South American culture because, I mean, I'm surrounded by people that are more expert than me, to be sure. When the Spaniards came over to the New World, there were many Jews that were escaping the Inquisition. In fact, Jews were forced out on the same day in 1492, the Alhambra decree, when Columbus set sail, and you have this mass exodus, and many Jews fled. They came to the New World, and they intermingled with the population. And the argument is there are many Hispanic Jews. In fact, Jews in America, they came from 23 families that were refugees from Recife, Brazil. When the Portuguese came, they left, and they went to a colony in America at a place called New Amsterdam. And Edward Stuyvesant, the governor, wouldn't let the Jews off the boat. He was anti-Semitic, but the Dutch holding company forced him to do it. And these 23 Jewish families went to what was New Amsterdam then, what's New York City now, and they established a synagogue on Mill Street, right there at the edge of the island. There's an Italian restaurant there. That synagogue still stands. It moved up to the west side, the east side of the island. It's called Sheretz Israel. But the New World, in so many ways, began with these Sephardic Jews in North America. The Jewish community knows that. What's been lost through time and circumstance are the many Jews that fled to South America. If you look at the Caribbean islands, they all have Jewish cemeteries, Jewish tombstones. I've read correspondences, bishops decrying how the harbors are just flooded with Hebrews. Very interesting story.
And it leads to this question. I was captivated by this topic of the tour in Spain that's coming up the following year.
Yes. There are many major cities in Spain that were Jewish. Toledo comes from the Hebrew Toldot. And you can go through these cities, these churches. A lot of these were synagogues, and you can see where they've been refabricated. When the Jews were expelled, people took over Jewish homes and houses of worship. And what my wife, Dr. Barry, and I want to do is go on a journey to rediscover the lost history of the Jews in Spain. And this isn't just Barry and I that are pontificating on this. We have various scholars in these various cities to take us to these places. It's a fascinating story. It's a tragic story. In fact, very, very recently, the government of Spain offered automatic citizenship to any Jews that wanted to return.
Wow.
Because it's very well known in Spain how the Jews were expelled, and that is a wrong in history that happily some are looking to right.
And I noticed that while you're here in the country of Mexico, there was a Jewish gentleman that you met. His name is Ethan, and he's in Mexico, but he's from the land in somewhere in...
His last name was Negev.
Right.
And when we were introduced, my wife Barry says, Negev, my goodness, I don't know what he knows and doesn't know because we didn't talk long. But the Sephardic Jews, the Hispanic Jews, the favorite verse was from a book of Obadiah. It says that the exiles of Jerusalem will return to Israel and settle in the Negev. And the Negev is the south, it is the region in the south of Israel. So here's some Mexican Jew, all that he knows is that his name is Ethan, Negev. We don't know our own history. You know, we can look at, in our homes, we can have a picture there of a grandfather, a great-grandfather, great-great-grandmother. We don't necessarily know their names. We don't know their favorite ice cream. We don't know where they're from. It's lost history, even in our own families.
Right.
There's a piece of lost history here.
What's really interesting, I think your wife brought it, the culture on Fridays with the families, because in the Mexican culture, the family gathering is very strong, and it lent to the concept of what the Jewish culture has on Friday night.
Friday night, Sabbath. You know, originally the Sabbath, that's not when Jews go to church, whereas Christians do it on Sunday, Jews do it on Saturday. It wasn't a church day. In the Hebrew Bible, when it talks about keeping the Sabbath, it's a family day, it's not a church day. There were no synagogues in Moses. And the day in the Hebrew Bible begins in the evening. For instance, it's dark now. When the sun goes down, it's the beginning of the new day. In the Hebrew, it says, it was evening, it was morning, day one, day two. So Jews celebrate the Sabbath on Friday night. And then it ends Saturday night. Now, Jews would celebrate the Sabbath at home with a meal. And Jews would go out into the field before sunset, and they would welcome the Sabbath queen, is what Sabbath was called, feminized. They would gather together as a family and have the best meal of the week. They would wear the best clothes of the week, and even the bread was braided like a wedding. So the challah is what it's called. It was very festive and very special. And I've spoken with Hispanics. They don't know. All they knew was that there was a family tradition. Finish working early on Friday, come home, have a great meal, wash up. People don't understand the Jewish origin of it. All that's lived on is the tradition. And why is that? Because of a thing called lost history. It's kind of like in Christianity. Why is there even a thing called Pentecostalism? People make Christianity a question of this ritual, this incense, this is what this priest said, and everybody forgot what it was when it all began.
Right.
And then some people began to say, look, we're not inventing this stuff, just read it, it's in the Bible. We only work here, and everybody got mad. Why is that? Because it's lost history.
Yes, and I think you highlighted that so quickly when you spoke about such as the wise men or the name Mary, and ministers sometimes repeat